All right, today we are tackling a question that came out in the Business Creator Club, and one of the biggest myths out there for content, which is you need huge downloads to monetize. Let me tell you, that is 100% false. Right now, I'm telling you, you do not need a big audience to monetize. I understand how this can be the belief out there. I understand maybe how some of us might have been misled to this. And the reason I feel so passionate about specifically this topic is because I see a lot of people get so frustrated because of this reason and stop content and stop sharing their message out to the world when it's super helpful, when what you have to say is going to help 1,000 or more people. What you have to say is providing solutions out there for your dream customer, for the people that you support, from your customers, all these things. I get so angry all the time. So I want to drill it in everybody's head right now that you do not. I mean, a good example of it is our show. I mean, go look at our YouTube channel. Go look at the first 500, 600 episodes, right? Like you will see very little to no views, and I have a story on that side as well. But also our main platform is audio. That's why we multi-purpose. We start testing different platforms. You don't have to do it right off the bat. We did it because we use our content to experiment, right? But even with the amount of views that you see, even with the amount of experimentation that you see, we are able to connect our content with our revenue system in our business. And we're very proud to say that specifically from the podcast, we've done more than 7 figures on that side. It allows us to buy a second business. It allows us to be on stage. It allows us to be ourselves the way that we are. Look at me. I'm just recording from, my house in my t-shirt because I feel like I need to create and this thing. So again, the Business Creator Club. If you're not there, go to businesscreator.club. We join every single week on Q&A sessions. And man, let me tell you, this is number one question that we get all the time. I highly recommend a book by Justin Moore, one of our previous guests here on the show, called Sponsor Magnet. So before we even go there, there's 2 creation methods, I guess. Remember the 6 levers, right? Ideation, which is your message. Creation, which is how do you create, for example, in a home studio or in a studio that you rent out or from your phone or whatever, right? How do you actually create your content? Then you have your production, which is your post-production process. For example, you grab that recording that you created and you put it in a video editor and then you do magic and then something else comes out of that. That might be no production at all because you're running a live show, for example. Right? There's all these things. Now, after production, then you have distribution, which is key, which is, maybe we're going to be talking about this in a new episode. And then from that is monetization. How do you actually connect that content into revenue for your business if you do have a business? And then at the end, it's how do you manage all this? Now, here's the key difference between a content creator versus a business owners. Both, create the content to monetize it. Now, the business has a product first. You're playing the business game. You're playing to be profitable. You're playing to monetize. You might have a bunch of people employed and depend on that content to drive traffic, which is why I understand the pressure that you must feel as a business owner, because I do feel it as well, to drive traffic to your offers and your things. But the game that you're playing is different, right? It's just more than just content. It's changing beliefs, is driving people to the right offer at the right time, right? It's just testing that offer. It's testing the messaging, right? If people, for example, on YouTube, they see your thumbnail, the thumbnail sells the content. The intro of the content sells the rest of the content. The rest of the content sells the call to action or moving into your page. The headline of your page sells the copy on your page. The copy on your page sells the click to go to the next page, and so on and so on and so on. So what I see often is not a lot of people have that path either created because they want to start with content first, or optimized because they don't even know their metrics. They don't know how many people go to their website. They don't know how many people click the button. They don't know how many people book the call. They don't know how many people show up to the call. So those metrics are super important. And again, I'm saying it from also a business owner point of view that is currently working in all of this. Now, because of the people that we get in the community, because of the people that we get into our studio, we see both sides of the table. On the creation side, they might not have a product. They might not have a business even. They might just start creating because there is a passion. For example, if you go to the football show, the football show is our passion project. We're creating there with creation first, and then we're going to figure out like how to monetize later. Now, keep in mind, we don't have a huge pressure to monetize that because it is the passion project. We're talking about the topics that we like, that we enjoy, that, you know, if we don't monetize it for at least for the next year or so, it doesn't really matter. But there's a strategy that we're going to test, and I'm going to tell you all about it that is going to help us out. So you create first, and then because your content is your product, that's why the misconception comes, because you're selling your product. You're selling that content that you're putting out there, because the audience, then the belief is that audience will buy from you. But now sometimes, you know, now we have to see, is the audience a quality audience? Is it people that we actually, you know, click on the thing? Are they from the right part of the world that they can buy your product or do the thing? Like, there's so many layers to this that is so important that you start creating and putting your message out there. Well, first identify, you know, what side are you on? Are you on the business side that creates, or are you on the creator side that wants to monetize and create something from their content? Both things are going to be different. Both strategies are going to be completely different. So I encourage you to first define that, and then you can reverse engineer the content, things we talk about in Business Creator Club, businesscreator.club, if you're interested. Also, a huge one here is if you want to monetize and if you want to actually come up with a strategy, you can go to bizbros, bizbros.co/monetize. And there's a 5-day challenge that you can run with Fonzie, which is going to bring clarity in which one are you on and like what method of creation, what do you need to produce exactly. We're not going to push whatever strategy that we've used. We're going to do our due diligence. So how you say due diligence with what you do and what you say. And then from there, we're going to give you a strategy. In 5 days, one-on-one coaching. There is an offer at the end, but you like, if you don't take it, it's totally okay. You will have a strategy to move forward. So anyways, okay, enough plugging. So, sponsors versus ads versus partnerships. What changes as you grow? After you do your audit and you understand, like, okay, I'm a business that needs to create content to drive traffic, right? You're in the business game, like Alex Ramosi says all the time, right? Or if you're a creator, then it's different. Now, that book that I recommended, Sponsor Magnet, is going to help you collect cash up front for people that believe in your content, in your podcast, in your thing. And it's the number one book I recommend from the people in the studio because they come in. Sorry, I just heard a noise and it's my dog with the carpet. I was like, who's here? Who's in my house? Anyways, it's the number one book I recommend because it allows you to monetize from day one, even if you have no audience. Now, I love that because it will remove a lot of the pressure that a lot of early content creators feel, which is, you know, obviously constraint of time, constraint of resources. You're spending all this time trying to create. If you're a company, right, like you need to allocate budget for these things. So this is going to free you from that. You can bring a partner, you can bring a sponsor, and they can finance that initial, you know, round of content that you might do. That might be 12 episodes. That might be a month. That might be 3 months. For example, we have a customer that they're going to pay him for the first 3 months and then he's going to experiment. They have a deal. And then after that, they're going to reassess, right? And then it's on you to become a good content creator. What is a good content creator, you may ask? Well, it depends. It depends if you're entertaining and it depends if you are educating. Anyways, I'll leave it there. We've created enough of that. But if you have any questions, please send them my way. Put them right here in the comments on YouTube, on Spotify. So anyways, if you are looking for that monetization with no audience, right? Crafting a sponsor friendship friendship. Crafting a sponsor-friendly value prop, is gonna have a few elements. Some of these are, obviously your audience promise. What are you actually gonna do with the audience? Like, what are you delivering? Are you entertaining them? Are you educating them? Are you driving them into your partner's site or creating relationships? Maybe it's live events. For example, with the football show, there is a trade card show that's happening in St. Augustine, which is very close to where we live. And the people that are putting it together, turns out that they know us and they've seen the show. And our show, I think it has about 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. We've had probably like 10 episodes, very sporadic. It hasn't been consistent at all. We're bringing it back. But they saw the content and they believed in it, and they are sponsoring like an 8-hour live stream that we're going to be doing that day for the football show, for the trading card show. And there's going to be some stuff that we're going to be working together with them to do that. So that's an example of like maybe a micro event that you can latch on, and then from there create a new opportunity. So do you have partners in your business? Do you have partners in your area that you can create a mini event where you guys can come together? Maybe they finance it. You go in, you create, you engage with the audience, you collaborate, you give your expertise. And then from there, maybe there's a new opportunity that comes on. Maybe you guys do a workshop together. Maybe they like you so much and you engage with the thing that they decide to sponsor your podcast no matter what, because they believe in you as a creator, in you as a person, in you as an entrepreneur. There's an incredible interview that we did here that I forget the name, man. Why do I... 700 names. It's a little hard to remember, but here's the gist. He was a creator that started cutting grass, and he had a grass business. And then from there, it grew to the point that John Deere hired him to be the voice of their podcast. Crazy, amazing. And now he's the John Deere official podcast, which is his podcast. They just rebranded it as the John Deere podcast to go do it at trade shows. Anyways, and he's making bank. Awesome. I have to put the link right below in the description for you to check out that interview. So again, many options to do this. Obviously, positioning is the second element here. It's like, how do you position yourself, right? John Lee Dumas, in one of his keynotes in Funnel Hacking Live, he's like, we are the best. What is it? The best entrepreneur, like daily entrepreneur interview show. And he's like, niche down on like your positioning to be able to leverage that. Some people, that opinion there was divided. We love John, by the way, JLD. We love you, man. We've been on his show. He's been on ours. But a lot of people were divided with that. We're like, okay, well, like, why would I do that? It's like leverage. Leverage is the thing. I'm lying. No, well, you're not lying if you are like the only one niche message, right? We were learning from Amanda Holmes and Chet Holmes in the podcast when we were working with them. There was a concept in the book on like literally how to charge more for different products that you might have. And the example that they share in The Ultimate Sales Machine was how to, for example, time management in general will cost X amount of dollars. Time management for busy professionals, X amount of dollars, double, right? Time management for busy professionals and executives, because it's very more niche. Clearly, my English is very good today. Is going to be more money for that. So the more specific you are solving people's problems, which is, by the way, the content that we create, right? Not just us, but you as well. The more niche you are, the more, the easier, I guess, or the more simple the positioning might be when it comes to your audience, because they're going to know exactly what problem you are solving, right? And we can niche down, and become the best at that. And then from there, then you can start expanding and be like, well, not just time management, but also business or, project management. And then you can go from there, for example. And then at the end is, outcomes, which, what is a commitment that you have with those relationships? What are the commitments that you guys agree upon? And not all of them have to be KPI driven, right? It could be that value prop that we've talked about it earlier on the show. So this was a little bit of a rant for me, but I think the bigger opportunity here is because, it's because I hear this all the time. And, we attach our interviews regardless of the downloads, regardless of the audience, which, by the way, we absolutely love you and adore. And we love every time you send us messages. Thank you so much. Because without you guys listening, of course, there's no show. But initially, when there was nobody listening, or maybe two people listening, we're like, okay, the people that are listening to us is our guest. And then we can create a genuine connection with that guest. And then after the interview, we can have a conversation and see literally if our product might be a good fit for them or for somebody that they know. And that's how we were able to monetize our show, through the service. The studio sale came because of that, because the guy that built the studio was in our show. And then a year later, he's like, hey, I'm moving town. You guys want it? I'm like, absolutely. Let's go make a deal. Right. And the opportunity came because of the relationship that we built through content. By the way, it doesn't have to be a podcast. You guys can collaborate on a blog. You guys can call on the phone and it's like, hey, give me some information for my Instagram post, right? Like, how do we build that relationship that then becomes an opportunity, whether that's the business or the referral? That's what we call the pipeline platform. So there's many, many ways that we can go about this. Now, some questions that we got in there, which I'm going to do almost like a rapid round because I do have to go get my kids. I'm already a little late. So how can a smaller show land sponsors without big download numbers? Okay. So this one specifically, go read the book. Sponsor Magnet. Go get the book. Is the best $12 that you're going to invest in this. Like, we are not the experts on getting sponsors. I actually haven't gotten sponsors in HubSpot. And that one's a story on its own. Almost like an accident, but very grateful for that accident. But go get Sponsor Magnet. The summary, the gist of it is lean on specifically on what makes you special above everything else. Remember, your content is your product. There's going to be people that are going to believe in that, almost like a startup. That is the concept. What does a sponsor actually care about? Audience size or audience fit? Today, 100% audience fit. There is incredible creators that don't have a lot of followers, which like could be like 1,000 followers. But they're true fans, true people that like believe in that message and believe in what these people say. And, they ride or die for them. So of course the impact there is going to be bigger. It also depends on like, what are we selling? Like, what is the company selling? What is the product that they're, supporting their audience with? That might not even be a fit, right? So we had a show the other day that they were looking for a sponsorship, and their pitch was very general, not even thinking about, the benefits of like what that product could mean for their audience. What if the product is not a fit for the audience, right? What if they like to drink soda and you're trying to push water? Well, what if they like water and you're trying to push beer, right? Like, it's very different. So keep that in mind. Obviously here, the rapid rounds. And number 3, where should sponsorship money go first? Production, ads, or team? Well, it depends. How we went ahead and answered this in the community call is like, imagine your content as an experiment. You have to allow yourself and you have to build where you can test things out. So if your pain point, remember the publishing pyramid. Resources at the top, the capacity of those resources. Like, for example, you have an editor. How many hours do they have at the day to edit your content? If it's you, for example, what is the commitment? So on that capacity, so okay, if I have 8 hours, what is a commitment? 2 episodes a week. Do they fit within those 8 hours, the production time, for example, right? And then your messaging, what do you say? So based on that, identify what is your friction point. What is allowing you not to publish? So it could be research. It could be that I don't know what to say. It could be that I'm terrified to speak on camera, right? It could be that if you're editing, you might not be good at editing. Like, what is the thing that is preventing you from putting out there? What is that audit? Identify that and then reinvest in that so you can continue to grow. In our specific case, how we solved that initially was, all right, well, we don't want to edit. It takes us, too long to edit. Let's go live. So we didn't do any of that. If your number one priority is to maybe drive traffic to your website, maybe ads is a good way to invest in this. And again, we're not going to get into details on how to run the ad, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, if we present this message to 1,000 people, out of the 1,000 people, how many click? Out of the ones that click, how many submit their email? After the ones that submit the email, like what is the path? Again, that's just an example. You might have your own path. It could be ad to lead to book a call, right? It could be something like that. Very simple. Depends on the product that you're offering. It could be content to ad to sell the product immediately. Like, what is it, right? But again, you have to test it out. And the last one will be team. Well, it depends. Like, are your editors that good that it could drive traffic just because of the edit? So what we normally recommend is test them out for 30 days. Put in a strategy in place for 30 days, test it out and see how it goes. Here's the example that we're doing in real life right now with the football show is we're going to do 2 to 3 shows a week, which with the messaging, we're still working it out, but it could be like sharing the news, personal stories, interviews. We're going to see how those goes. And then individual short form content with little to no editing for the next 30 days. We need to build the capacity. We need to build the habit of creation in that specific topic for that specific platform. And we're going to see how it goes. We'll check in 30 days. Anyways, I hope this rant was useful. Let me know. I know it was a little bit all over the place, but man, I was going through the topics and I'm like, this question is asked all the time. I really want to change belief. I promise. If we could do it with like no audience whatsoever initially, by the way, we crossed the 6 figures before the 100 episodes and we were doing 3 a week. So that was like before our first year. You could do it within the first couple of months. If you have the right product, if you know how to tackle the conversations, if you have specific questions, please put them in the comments. Let me know, or go to businesscreator.club. Sign up. It's 37 months. It's $37 a month, I think. If you don't like it, we'll return your money. Totally okay. But jump in one of those Q&A sessions, and we can break down your process. We can be like, here's where it's at. If you don't want to spend the $37, go to bizros.co/monetize and you have a 5-day one-on-one challenge with Fonzie to do this. So, by the way, it's not the full day. It's like 20 minutes a day. Anyways, all right. I'm running late. I got to go pick up my kid. I'll see you on the next episode. Take care and thank you.